Hello friends, I welcome you all to this lecture. So in the previous lecture, I discussed that how to write a class, but how it can be written exactly in a editor. So let us do it. So first, we should have this class, kinematics. Okay, so let us create a class. It is created using a keyword class and then the name of that class. Very similar to structures in C++. Now, once this has been done, then you should have data members of that class because they belongs to that class. So members of that class, data members, which will be holding data. So what are they? Um, so if you look this particular problem, they are initial velocity, acceleration. So initial velocity u, acceleration a, and time t. So they are the basic data members. Once this is done, then you have to create function member functions. Member functions of this class. So now, what are the functions here? Only two. The one which will be evaluating the distance, that is ut plus half at square, and another one which will be displaying it. So let us make this s, and this will be simply returning that ut plus half, that is 0.5 into a into t into t. That's it, simple. And then we will also be requiring one display. So as this is only displaying, so no problem, display. So this will be displaying what? The s, and then L, or you can also say here traveled is this one, so that it looks better. Now that is how you create a class, but there are several problems with this class. So let us see one by one that what are the problems. So once class is declared, so you should do what? You should create an instance of it. Creating an instance means creating an object of it, creating a variable of this class. So the class name, and then comes the variable. So let's say it is k1. So what is k1? K1 is basically the variable of the class or the user defined data type kinematics, or it is nothing but the object of this particular class kinematics, whichever is appropriate to you. Now let us see what are the problems with this. So now if I simply say that I want to initialize u, okay, so in structures we can do it like this and initialize this with some value, let's say 2 meter per second. Okay, if I run this now, what will happen? Now look, kinematics u is private within the context. So friends, remember, this particular thing is throwing an error that it is telling me that you are not permitted to access the data member of a class from outside, as that data member is private, or in fact any of the functions are private. So this you should understand. So the question comes, if I have to initialize this particular classes data member, then how to do it? Then there are two ways. What you can do is either you can make everything public and then colon. So if you do this, then what will happen? Everything whatsoever is inside this particular class will become public, and then I can access it. Yes, you can now access it, no problem. But is it a correct way? No, because whenever we talk of a class, the data members should be hidden. They should be protected in a sense that no one from outside can access this. So this will prevent mishandling of data. So we don't make these public. So what we do is we make the member functions public, and by default it is already private. If you want, you can write private, there is no problem, then colon. So you can also write like this. So data members private, and member functions public. Or if you don't write this also, again this will be private only. Okay. Now, so how to initialize this? So there should be some function to initialize this, and what we do normally is we create getters and setters. So to set the data, we are making one function for this particular object. So we will be saying cout enter u, and then cin u. Similarly, we can also do for acceleration as well as time. So enter t. So this is t, and then enter acceleration. So this is a. Now you can set the data or initialize the data members for this k1. So how to access this particular function? By simply saying k1 dot set data, and as this is a function which doesn't require any argument, so we'll be simply writing this parenthesis. So if you run it now, so it will be saying enter u, so let's say 2, enter t, let's say 2 seconds, enter acceleration, let's say 10 meter per second square, and hence this is initialized. So the moment this particular thing happens, what will happen inside the memory? Initially there will be garbage value, and then you call that set data. So they will be initialized with, let's say, 2, 10 and 2. So this will happen. Then once you have initialized them, now you can evaluate the displacement. So let's say, or what you can do is, yes, you can evaluate this. You have to store it somewhere. Okay. So where to store? So let's say I am creating one variable s, or I can simply yes, let us say float s, and inside s I am saying k1 dot get data, sorry, not get data, it is s. So it is s, and then done. You can simply say cout s from here. So if you run it now, so it is, let's say initial velocity is 2, time is 2 seconds, and acceleration is 10 meter per second square. So you are getting 24 as the answer, because u into t is 4 plus half into 10, that is 5, into t square, that is 4. So 5 4s are 20 plus 4 24. So you are getting correct answer. But you have already created this particular variable display. So instead of creating this here, what you can simply say, instead of writing this all, what you can do is you can simply say k1 dot display. That's it. So what will happen? This display will be called, and this will be calling this particular function s. And you are already initializing t, a, and u. So this will be evaluated and then transferred here. So if you run this particular program now, so it is 2, 2 and 10. So you are getting this particular answer as 24. So it is very simple. So the things which you should remember is data members always private, member function always public, because a class can only interact from outside. We can interact with the class via data member functions only, not data members. So that's why we should have that as public. And then to initialize the data members, we should have one function set data, so that we can set or initialize the data members, and then you are having your own functions whatsoever is demand of the problem. So in this way you create a simple class. Though this type of declaration is not very elegant, but we'll see that what is the problem and how to handle it in the later lectures. So in this lecture, till this point only. Thank you very much for watching it. Take care.